Another week down. Oh, man. I mean, what else can you say except that? All right, so it was a fun week. I was started off on Monday. I was assigned Duluth and Norcross, and then Blue Ridge and Blairsville. Now, I didn't sleep past about 3 p.m., but felt rested enough and knew that if I went in too early, they may change my assignments, and I didn't want that to happen. So I left for work at 4:45. I arrived in pre-trip, then went to the office. They closed my first load at the moment I walked in, so no time was wasted, and I was off the yard just before 6. Now, 316 and 11 has had construction for 10 days or so, but they actually stopped it. I thought it was going to be going on until the end of the month. It ended up not. But I was mistaken at that point in time. So I actually drove down 78 and then to 124, then Sugarloaf to 316 because I thought that I needed to avoid all the traffic and stuff that was going on. But I wasn't really trusting the GPS on the truck roads again like last time. So I went ahead and did that. I arrived in Duluth at about 7:20 and was let in 5 minutes later. The guy was alone and he had to pull by himself and run by himself tonight. I wasn't too concerned because if I finished too early, my load may not be ready yet and I may get reassigned again. And I really wanted to go to the North Georgia mountains. So, slower pace due to the pull and run. And I tell you, that just drained my energy. It just fell out of me. Anyway, I got out of there in about 50 minutes and made it to Norcross by about 8:30. And I had been there by day before, but when I was coming in late, later because that was back like at the very beginning when I didn't really understand what was going on. I had been to that store and it was just so slow paced. This is the first time I had been there at night, so I didn't know how their system worked there at night. And it was, of course, just as always, it was disorganized and slow, and it was no different. They let me in promptly, but there was only one meat and produce guy there. And it was a hunt trying to find him. And then he had to hunt down the pallet jack key, the electric pallet jack key. So that was fun, having to wait for all that garbage. And that first dude who hunted down the pallet jack key and stuff like that, he was a bit on the green side. I handled the stickers and showed him how to temp and that kind of stuff. And then an experienced guy showed up after a few pallets and kind of showed him a few things more from Walmart's side. But then I was explaining some things to the new guy. The experienced guy had not heard. So he actually started listening to me and learning about the system from our end. And they both had a good attitude, so I didn't mind explaining everything to them. The two guys were pulling and running. It took about 45 minutes or so once they got going, and I was out by about 9:15. Now, I got to the DC, and my Blue Ridge Blairsville load was at 95%, but the guy in the office told me that there was a Cornelia Franklin trailer ready to go now, and it's only 40 miles, longer. Well, I jumped on that because I'd much rather have a longer run anyway. So anyway, I was out of there in about 15 minutes. And both Cornelia and Franklin opened the doors immediately and had me unloaded in 20 minutes or so. I tell you, I love the North Georgia mountains. So awesome. They don't usually go to lunch at 2. The doors are open immediately. They unload immediately. They're not understaffed. It's awesome. Anyway, I got back to the DC and was on my way home by 6 a.m. Tuesday, I was assigned Eatonton and Statesboro, and that was Statesboro Neighborhood Market. And then Deansbridge, so that was a 3-stop. It was Eatonton and Statesboro Neighborhood Market, then Deansbridge Road, Augusta. And then an Athens Neighborhood Market by itself. I arrived at Eatonton about 7 p.m., and they had me unloaded and out in 20 minutes. That was nice. Arrived at Statesboro just after 10 p.m. They had the door open and ready for me, so it took only about 20 minutes also. And now I then arrived at Deansbridge Road in Augusta. The guy let me in immediately, which was a big surprise because I had never had that happen before. Now, he wasn't happy that I was meat and produce instead of frozen dairy. But I only had 5 pallets, so his frustrations settled very quickly. And I was centered to the padding on when I backed in. But it ends up that not all of their docks are the same. So you could be centered to the padding on both sides where it's even on both sides. But I was 3 inches off to one side when I got inside and opened up the trailer. Now, he tried to take the electric pallet jack over the 4-inch gap or so, which was also higher. And as soon as he pulled off a pallet, it collapsed down, so he had to drop it. That didn't work. Then he had the brilliant idea of trying to just, take the dock level up and having it jam into the side of the truck, hoping that was going to somehow push over this truck. And I'm like, the trailer. And I was like, that's not going to work, dude. It's like, it's got that much. It's got to clear. It's not going to happen. Anyway, I told him, I'm just going to move over the truck. Anyway, he got the 5 pallets and I was on my way. Anyway, I was on my way in 15 minutes once, he let me actually move the trailer over. He also was running though. Well, actually, he pulled to the dock. He ran, I think, 1, and then he decided to pull things to the dock because there was only 5 of them. I arrived at Athens right around 3 a.m. It is a 4 a.m. store, so I started ringing the doorbell at 4 a.m., and I was in the door in 30 seconds since the slow lady wasn't there. And I was unloading in 5 minutes, and we were done there in 15 minutes. Now, the slow lady showed up a few minutes before we finished, and I was concerned that she was going to take over. And I'd be there, an hour or so longer. But no, the man that had finished unloading me. They actually told her, I thought you called out sick today. And she's like, well, I did, but I felt to come on in anyway. So she just decided to mosey on in there about 20 minutes late anyway. So she was there right as we were finishing up. I was glad she did not take over. And she was very polite, very polite. The slow lady. If it was just her unloading me, I would not have been out that door when I was. As a matter of fact, probably it would have been 10 minutes after I left that she even started unloading me because she's so slow. On Wednesday, I saw a 3-stop noise ordinance, Suwanee coming Gainesville, and then Athens, not a 4 a.m. store, and Anderson ×2 show up on the app. I slept well and was up by 3, so I took my time and went on in. My first load was ready before I left the house, so I was off the yard just after 5. Load can't arrive either of the first 2 stores before 6 p.m. and the third stop before 8 p.m. No problem. I was out just after 5, not going to have an issue arriving to Suwanee in less than an hour in rush hour traffic. I arrived in Suwanee at 6:25 and was unloaded and was gone by 6:50 and arrived in Cumming by 7:30. And they were training 2 new associates in the dock. So there was a few minutes of delays while they got things up and moving, which was slow. But once they kind of got moving, that one of the things they did is said, okay, to the new guys, you move the pallets back and just move them to the back of the cooler. And then, at one point he pulled himself aside and showed him how to actually load them up in there. Anyway, got out of there at 8:10 and arrived in Gainesville Neighborhood Market by 8:50. Now, there was a fleet driver there that was unloading GM, and he had a flat. Okay. It ends up being that the reason he was there that late, which I had never seen a fleet guy there that late, he ended up having a flat on his trailer earlier in the day when he picked up that trailer. And so he decided he was going to go and get it fixed and then drive in. The right way to do it. Those fleet drivers, man, the reason why they're paid the way they are is because they are good. They are slow. They take their time to do things the right way. They're very courteous. They follow the procedure exactly the way the DOT and the CM wants CMV drivers to handle things, and they're on the ball. This guy was no different. And anyway, that's why he was so late. It was 30 minutes later or so. I was in the dock, and ready for unload. And I was out in 20 minutes and back to the DC. My second load was at 96%, so I had to wait there 15 minutes for it to finish, and then I was out of there. Arrived in Athens at midnight and was unloaded in about 20 minutes. Arrived in Anderson on Highway 28 bypass just before 2 a.m. and started ringing the doorbell. Now, nobody came to the door, so I ran around about a half a mile because, I did not want to find the whole store at lunch. But guess what? The whole store was at lunch. And the only person with a key wouldn't be back until 3 a.m. That was annoying because I got there before 2. And they just did not bother to check the doorbell. They didn't bother to check it. They don't bother looking at ETAs anywhere. Anyway, the guy did not show up until 3 a.m. He literally showed up at clockwork at 3 a.m. He just magically materialized inside the loading dock. And I had seen him in the past, and and I'd worked with him in the past. He remembered me as the guy that would do stickers and stuff. So that was cool. But I tell you, I was tempted to not help out at all because I did not appreciate having to wait for over an hour. But anyway, so he got me going, and anyway, he didn't waste a whole lot of time once he got going. And my goal was to make it to the last stop before 4 a.m. And he actually, did a really good job. I left there by 3:30 and was at the other location at 3:45. Another truck was in the dock, but as soon as he spotted me, he looked over, he saw that I was driving a Walmart trailer, and he pulled out, which was cool. When I was working for Schneider, I got really frustrated about going to the different POS locations and how they would always take care of their own drivers first. If I went to NFI, they would always take care of their NFI drivers first. If I went anywhere, they would always take care of their drivers first. And that would just cause major delays to me. But this was nice. He actually understood the routine. He moved out. And also, since I was there at 3:45, I was going to try to get out of that dock as soon as I could. That way he wasn't waiting very long. And so anyway, the second he moved, like as soon as I pulled up there, I started doing the Omnitrax and started filling out the...
Hi, please stay to command.
Speaking of Omnitrax, I don't know what this thing is on about. What if it's because I said Omnitrax?
Would you like to continue?
No.
Goodbye.
I have never heard this thing talk to me before. So it's because I said Omnitrax, I guess? I have no idea. Anyway. Yeah, buddy. So, anyway, so as soon as I pulled up, I started doing the workflow and stuff, acknowledging that I had arrived there because I was expecting him to only move if I went and talked to him. But as soon as he started moving, I was like, I saw him spot me, and then I saw him starting to move out, and I'm like, well, geez, that's awesome. So I wasted no time. I jumped out of the truck. I ran around. The guy let me right in. He was actually training somebody, so it took a couple of minutes to get me. And I was really hoping to be out of there in 15 minutes, but I was unloaded by 4:15 rather, and out within 5 minutes later. Not a bad night total. I was really hoping to be able to not delay that guy, but because he was training a new guy, that sabotaged everything. Thursday, I was assigned a 350-mile run to Blairsville, Dawson, and Tryon. And then but the way the GPS routes me, I knew it was going to be 100 miles more. Because the GPS doesn't route the same way as the system does. So when Walmart plan things out, they plan it from zip code to zip code. They don't care at all about the way the GPS is going to route you. And the GPS, whenever it takes you up there to the North Georgia mountains, like Blairsville even, which from Monroe, Blairsville is right there. And then, but what the GPS always does is it says go this way, then go over here, then go here, then here, then here, here, all the way over. So it makes you take this big, long, huge trek because it does not want you to drive through the North Georgia Mountains, through the Blood Mountain Pass, or any of that kind of good stuff. So it doesn't route you that way. So anytime it assigns me to go up there, I know it's going to take me up or down 85 or 316 to 85 to 285 to 75 to 575, and then it turns into Highway 515. I don't care. Extra miles, I'm good. So I can either go slowly, 25 miles an hour, going through the windy, fun parts of the North Georgia mountains, or I can just stay on the speed limit ride of 65 miles an hour, packing down more miles. And because Martin pays hub miles, they pay you the miles you actually put on the odometer. So I don't mind driving extra miles, knowing full and well they're going to pay them. So that's good. But I tell you, I was assigned that run, and it showed up nice and early. And because I knocked myself out. Hello? Hello?
Hey, Alan, it's Tammy.
Hey, how's it going?
Okay. When you left this morning, you told us that you needed to get to that last stop, Augusta, until 6 a.m., right?
Yeah, it's a noise ordinance. I'm looking at the sign right now that says no trucks allowed between 10 p.m. and 6:15 a.m. And they have it coned off.
Okay, well, you can get there at 6, but you're not supposed to be on the property, and you arrived yourself at 2 something. That means we're only getting pinged as early, and that's just as bad as being late. The store can get a ticket.
Oh, so should I resubmit it then?
I'm getting ready to take it out now.
Okay.
Where are you at on the property?
I am, well, I was actually at the pilot next door when it popped up and said it. I was typing in, going into the thing that said, what is it? It said, confirm. It pops up and says, a arrival detected. And I was in the process of filling the thing out saying I was fueling. And so I pressed the button as the thing popped up. So it went ahead and accepted at that point. But right now I am inside. I'm just like pulled barely onto the road. I'm not back where the trucks are yet. I just pulled in.
Okay, stay there. I've got that pulled out. So you'll need to re-arrive yourself.
Okay.
And obviously do that after 6.
Okay.
Okay? Alright, cool. I just want to let you know what I did because I don't want to mess you up.
Oh, no worries. No worries. I didn't realize. Yeah, I did. First of all, I would have, even if I pulled onto the property, I would have still hit the button as soon as it popped up, because I thought it was in the workflow going in and putting in the individual times. I didn't realize it was the arrival detected, whatever.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll know that.
Like I said, I've got it pulled out.
Okay.
Just, be careful. That store's just really, the neighborhood people there will call a lot of our people.
At this neighborhood market. Okay. Well, I'm not back there. I'm just barely.
No, that's what I'm saying. That's why we worry about that one more than some of the others. But okay, I got it fixed. So just a little after at 6, just roll on up there, and you'll be good.
Okay. Well, they'll take these cones out, I guess. It's funny because it says between 10 p.m. and 6:15 a.m.
Meat and produce can get there as soon as the noise ordinance is over.
Okay.
If they say anything, just let them know that you do have the meat and produce.
Okay. Will do.
Okay. You have a good
Yeah,
day.
it's funny. A police officer is driven by twice. He just drove by again. He just, drives right on by and ignores me because I haven't pulled all the way back there. I'm waiting, barely like on the road to the back. So cool. Alrighty.
All right. Well, thank you. You be careful.
All right. No worries. All right. Bye-bye. I don't know if I'll leave that in this video or not. Okay. Now, I wasn't tired when I went to bed the night before, so I decided to knock myself out by taking, 6 milligrams of melatonin and then a valerian root. And so I did. As soon as I got up at 3 p.m., I took my time and arrived at the office around 5:30. Now, I expected the load time of 8:36 p.m. to make me wait for a while, but the load was closed right as I got to the office, which was nice. So that meant that I was ready to go, and I was out by 6:15. Decided I was actually going to trust the GPS this time. Down 78, and that was a mistake. All for 4 miles. It was, okay. It was, all right, all right. GPS is, okay. Here's the way it works with this GPS. The company wants you to actually follow the GPS, and if you choose to deviate from the route it gives you, then they will not have your back if you go to a non-truck route or something like that. If you get the ticket or whatever, they won't care. If you follow the company GPS, then they will have your back. The fun thing is, the company GPS, if it reroutes you at all automatically, it will automatically also sometimes put you onto a non-truck route. It will send you onto some route that's really crazy. So you have to be careful about that. Now, I also know that if you go out of the DC and you go down 78 about 3 miles, you could turn onto 11 and then go down about another 10 miles, turn left onto 316 and take that down to 285. Or you could go down about an extra mile, turn left and go down 78, then take 20 to 285 and then continue. I decided I was going to trust the company GPS, which tells me to go down 78, and that was a huge mistake. They're doing all kinds of road construction. There's all kinds of bottlenecks and stuff on 20, so that just slowed me way down. I did that for all of 4 miles extra. Just to get 4 extra miles, I decided I was going to do that way, which delayed me over half an hour, as opposed to 316, which was completely clear. So I will not be doing that again. Anyway, nearly 4 hours later, after leaving, I arrived in Blairsville, which was 165 miles away with the route that GPS routed me. More pallets stacked all the way up beyond the plastic too, and I tell you, those always have to be pulled out. So when they put a pallet into the truck, it's usually supposed to be wrapped in plastic. They put it up in there, and then they will throw stuff else on top of it that's not, first of all, wrapped in plastic, and second of all, it's too high, so it has to be removed before they're able to pull the pallets out. And I don't know why the DC does that. They're getting really lazy. Anyway, they had to be pulled before they could be taken out. And I was out of there in about 40 minutes. Now, I don't mind it extra long because...
Hi, please stay to command.
No. Anyway, I was out of there in about 40 minutes. I didn't mind it to be a little bit of an extra long
Would you
thing.
like to continue?
No. What are you doing? Why are you talking to me? Stop.
Goodbye.
Goodbye. This thing has never talked to me before. No Omnitrax that I've ever seen.
Hi, please stay to command.
I hate the Omnitrax. I hate it. It's the worst, stupidest system. Anyway.
Would you like to continue?
No.
Goodbye.
So anyway, I was out of there in about 40 minutes. I didn't mind it being a little bit of extra time because he's normally very fast and he was training somebody. He was a new employee. He was training that person. So I did not mind the little bit of extra time, especially since it was my last run. I got to the Dalton Neighborhood Market in about 90 minutes and was unloaded in 15 minutes. And I arrived in Tryon barely over an hour later and was out in 20 minutes, barely after 2 a.m. So it was, all in all, it was a great day. Friday, I was assigned Buford, well, Swanee and then Buford, and then that was noise ordinance, and then Commerce, Greenville, and Easley. Oddly, though, I got called by the office for a check call at 3 p.m. Now, that's when I'm sleeping. The people in the office usually know that I'm sleeping. Well, I've told a few of them, I guess. They should know that I'm sleeping. They don't always, I guess. And anyway, that woke me up. And so I was awake. So I went ahead and came on in, got my trailer, was out by 6 o'clock. I arrived at Swanee just before 7. It's a Saturday. It was a Saturday, so there was less traffic, and that was fine. Rang the doorbell and was out 10 minutes. Waited about 10 minutes, and then I ran around. The guy was in the dock and ready, so we started unloading 5 more minutes. He probably would have opened the door for me. I just didn't wait after 10 minutes, so I went ahead and started at the 5 minutes mark. Anyway, we were done, and I was leaving nearly 40 minutes after arriving. That's including the time I was waiting outside, so that's fine. Arrived in Buford just before 8, and after ringing the doorbell for about 5 minutes, ran around. Took nearly 10 minutes to find someone and start the unload. I was out at 8:35. Got back to the DC, and my load was at 46%. So, a lady in the office had an Augusta route ready, and that was about 10 miles more. And then a North Georgia route that was a North Georgia mountain route that was about 3 less. Now, I know the North Georgia route wouldn't plan on fueling me up. So I knew that that would give me a little bit of more mileage if I were to go around and take the Livonia path to get down to 85 as opposed to going 441. So I went ahead and did that. I arrived in Cornelia at 11:30, and the door was opened. And so I was unloading within 3 minutes after arriving. And the guy there wasted no time, and I was out in less than 20 minutes. 30 minutes later, I was in Clayton right at 12:30. The door was opened also, and within 30 seconds, I was unloading again and was out in 20 minutes. And then I arrived in Hartwell at 2:10 a.m., and the door was open. And the associate already had the dock open and waiting and was out in 20 minutes again. Man, so organized. That was my Friday. Awesome. I love those North Georgia mountain stores. The Hartwell location surprised me, though. I was not expecting them to be like that. You will hear about this location that I am at right now next week in the next episode. And why I'm here when I'm here right now while cars keep driving by. Police officer just drove by again. Why I'm here. It's nice and quiet in here though, isn't it? That's it. Thanks for watching.